Welcome back for another episode of the Miss Retrospective, where tonight I am going to be sitting down with Promise Braxton in my first foray into Joshi Pro Wrestling. For those of you guys that don't know, that is women's Japanese professional wrestling. And man, what a banger we have on for you tonight, as we are going to see Hokuto take on Toyota back in 1995. And I hope you guys enjoy the conversation with Promise Braxton. Alrighty, welcome to another episode of the Miss Retrospective, where my name is Kirby. My blind spot is before '04, and anywhere outside of WWE, pretty much, where I want to kind of catch up on stuff that I may have missed in my, I'm going to call it childhood. And as you guys have already heard through a several amount of episodes, we've had some great conversations here. But tonight, I'm actually having a conversation with the one and only Promise Braxton. Promise, how you doing today?
You can make my introduction a little better than that. Go on.
All right,
Go
I'm
on,
sorry.
Go on.
I'm here with the chosen one, the former Diamonds champion, the former traveler, world travel. Well, actually, you can't be former world traveled. The world traveled superstar, Sherry Martel Classic winner, soon to be maybe two-time Sherry Martel Classic winner. Three-time. I'm sorry. Promise Braxton.
There
Promise,
we go.
how you doing?
There we go. I'm good. How are you, buddy?
See, the only reason I don't do that's because you're not a glory superstar.
Oh.
Be on glory first,
Throwing
and then we'll talk.
shade. Throwing shade.
That's all right. We love our platinum counterparts. But welcome to the show, Promise. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for wanting to be a part of this project, because as I mentioned before we got started and everything, my blind spot in wrestling was before 2004, because I started watching with WrestleMania 20. So I want to kind of see other styles and maybe stuff that I may have missed previously. And the match that we're talking about today is actually one of those spots. But before we get to that, would you mind telling the people that don't know who you are a little bit about yourself? That way they can kind of see where your perspective comes from watching this match.
Yeah, of course. My name is Promise Braxton. I've been wrestling for about 9 years now. I started back in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I've been here in Texas for 6 years. I'm a former Sherry Martel Classic winner, former Diamonds champion, former RWA champion, former Texoma champion. I am the 2023 Marvelous winner. I've been to Japan, Jamaica, and all over the country. So I've been watching wrestling for about all my life. So Kirby, you've been missing out on some good stuff if you've only been watching since 2004.
Well, to be fair, growing up, I did watch Lucha Libre in Mexico, but I was never really like super into it, because I just got caught by like the grandiose thing, especially in Lucha. There's a lot of people with like the glitz and glamour, right? And now that I know a little bit more about Lucha, it's a completely different style. And in 2004, that was when I just kind of turned on TV and I was like, what is happening here? And I saw Eddie Guerrero. And then one of my friends, the reason I say 2004 is because one of my friends let me borrow a tape that was for WrestleMania 20. And I popped it in and I was like, this is incredible, because it started with John Cena and The Big Show. And I was just blown away by everything that was happening. The triple threat main event, Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero, John Cena winning, Booker T being in the World Tag Team Championship match. So many different things just caught my eye. And I was like, I think I like this. How do I watch this? And then that's why I became a SmackDown guy, because SmackDown, I bleed blue. Even though it's my least favorite color, I bleed blue. That's just how it is for me. But now that I am, starting to get into the phase of my life where I am now, almost 20 years later, I wanted to finally give an opportunity and, start looking back at people that may have been inspired by these things that I may have missed, because my wheelhouse is commentary. So that's kind of where I am. And it was really funny talking to Kevin a few episodes ago. We talked about Mike Tenay being, the professor, the historian, and everything. And I loved watching that 97 match with Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, because he gave so much insight that I never really thought about before. But it's the same thing that people say about me with Raw, that I just remember too much. I'm like, I just watch Raw too much. That's just kind of the way that it is. So it's, to be kind of given that, and then seeing it, and now obviously going all around the world, watching Joshi, watching New Japan, watching pretty much everything else. I've had bits and pieces here and there, but never in a project like this where I'm like, give me the best of the best, and sometime maybe soon the worst of the worst, and we can talk about it a little bit, and maybe see where the inspiration came from. Maybe we could see some influence in some people, or maybe I could find some hidden gems along the way.
Absolutely. And to piggyback off what you said, commentary is so important in wrestling. I think people really fail to understand that. There's a few of my matches, I'm not going to say which ones they are, but I have to watch them on mute. just nonsense,
Mm-hmm.
just verbal garbage. And I'm like, dude, like, talk about me, talk about the match, talk about my opponent, talk about the history of us, like talk about something and not just your opinion. Like talk about the important parts. And I think Mike Tenay is so underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially him and Don West in '07 TNA, dude.
It's amazing.
Oh my god. Like Don West in a Gail Kim match, he was so turned up. You'd be like, dude, like this got to be like your daughter or something. He'd
Yeah.
be like, and Gail Kim's on top of the rope. Oh my god, you son of a bitch.
That's what gets you invested, and that's
Yes.
funny enough. Talking about this match that we're going to be talking about here shortly, I don't speak Japanese. I just know how to say hello, and maybe I know like the little things here and there from just listening to people speak Japanese, but I know nothing. I can't conversate in Japanese.
Give me your hello in Japanese.
Oh, I already forgot. It's not konnichiwa, is it?
I don't know.
I think that's one of them. Curry Man taught me that once. Yeah, so I understood nothing of what they were saying, like conversating and stuff, but it was really great, just like based off of their emotion, based off the inflection, what they were saying. I knew that this was a big deal. I knew that it was a big moment. I could really get into the story just off of that alone, which I think really speaks to the way that these performers did the match. Which for those of you guys that didn't see the episode title, today we're talking about Manami Toyota and Akira Hokuto. I hope I'm saying those names right, from '95. And this was actually a suggestion from a friend of mine, because when I had this idea, I was like, I know I want to watch Joshi, which is Japanese women's wrestling, and I had no idea where to start, but she was always one of the people that's like, you need to watch this. And I was like, maybe when I have time. And it was just really about time. But now that I do have time, I'm like, let's give this a shot. And my God, these two just right out of the gate went right at each other's throats.
It reminds me of me and Gigi back in the day, just on site. I wish a lot of matches started that way, just like ding, 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 and just go at it. Just fight, And I like about the Joshi style, it's very unorthodox. Some might say it's sloppy, but it's a fight. It doesn't have to be clean. It doesn't have to be the 1-2 step. It's, bitch, get over here. I'm going to drag you by your hair. I'm going to pick you up and slam you as many times as I can. And you're going to kick out. And I'm going to do it over and over again. I'm here to break you. And I wish wrestling was like this still. Just like you see the people in the crowd and they're just like, they're afraid. They're afraid that someone is legit hurt. And they're like the seconds, that if those who don't know, seconds are the people on the outside of the ring who are there to like give water and things like that. Those are called seconds.
Would they be called, like in New Japan, the Young Lions?
Yes.
Okay.
And you see like the emotion on those girls' faces, because they're like, yo, are you good? Like it's just so violent and it's so exciting and it's magical to me. Like you cannot duplicate this. No matter how you try to do it, you cannot duplicate this.
So it's funny that you talk about the pulling hair thing, right? That was the one thing that caught me so off guard right out of the gate. Like there was a spot at one point where I think it was like she's like bending her backwards, and instead of like grabbing at the neck and pulling her neck back, she's like, no, she just grabs the hair and starts pulling the hair back, and I'm like, oh, like these two just want to go at it. Like they're just gonna take whatever little shortcut that they can and just go for it.
Like she like wrapped her hand like in the ponytail and pulled it back, and it's like, oh
And
wow.
she even threw her by the hair too.
I don't know what I would do if someone did that to me. Like, like I don't know what I would do, because you probably rip my hair out. I have like a big old bald spot, probably looking crazy.
So that was to kind of start with, let's I guess we could start from the beginning of the match. The entrances were different, because the style that I'm very used to is WWE style. Everything's about the presentation, the big lights, the glamour, the pyro, and everything. And the one thing that I really liked about this, like right out of the gate, the entrances already seem different. They get their entrance music and everything, but then like the garbs that they have on and everything, you can kind of see that from, like, to use kind of today's standard, Io Sky. She also has like, the big jacket with like the garb and everything. And it's about that presentation with like the lights. I think she's one of the few people that gets like all the lights all over the place with like the crazy Tron and everything. But, just watching this match back from '95, like that's already there. Like, the garbs send a statement statement, like this is my status, this is
Hmm.
who I am, and it grabs you from that instant.
Absolutely, and shout out to Io Sky because she's definitely done a great job of bringing that Japanese style into WWE. Just her presentation alone, but to talk about the entrances, it's it's almost like a boxing entrance. You know, like you feel like the energy is like the crowd is like is on fire. And these people they're coming out and it doesn't matter how big the entrance or the attire is, they are serious. You know, they're not there to play games. They're not high fiving. I'm here and I'm looking at the ring. And I'm staring at the ring as I walk down this aisle because I know what's about to happen. And it's just it blows my mind. Like like you it's imagine being there in '95. You know you were about to see some madness. You knew like I think this was the main event. You knew you were about to see some crazy stuff happening because it's how their demeanor was. And then on top of that, to skip ahead, they didn't even get a chance to lock up. There was no lockup in this match.
That was
Like
actually one of the things I have in here,
mhm,
like little thing that I noticed. There was no
there was
lockup,
no lockup.
which is something that you always see in wrestling.
Not here.
And that again, that right there already tells you how, like, I guess deeply personal this was. What do you know the story before this match? Like what led to this match?
I don't. That's one thing. It's weird because like these matches are all over the place
Hmm.
now, and it's like again, I don't know Japanese either, so I just try to watch like all their matches together. But I'm not sure like the order or what the beef was. But I knew they had a lot of matches together.
Hmm.
Like they wrestled each other quite a bit.
And these are names that I've also heard, just in general, just talking about Japanese wrestling as a whole. Like obviously Kabashi's up there, Misawa's up there,
Mm,
Toyota's up there, and these are names that I've always heard, but I've never seen perform
mm-hmm.
before. And I see people talk about them, and I was like, okay, cool, they must have been great. But that's like I feel is if I'm a fan of wrestling in Japan, and then somebody in Japan that's doing the same thing that I am is like, oh yeah, I've heard of Stone Cold, but I've
Mm-hmm.
never seen any of his matches. I was like, how does that happen? Like how are you a fan of this sport and you don't know these people? So
It's just a different culture,
yeah,
honestly. Like when I was in Japan, they didn't know who Charlotte Flair was.
wow,
Like it's they watch their stuff
uh
and
huh,
we watch our stuff. You know, it's not foreign to us. It's foreign not to know. Like you're strange if you don't know Charlotte Flair. Like you're in America, you don't know Charlotte Flair. You don't know Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné. But there, if you don't know Chigusa, you're like, whoa, like you don't know Chigusa. You don't know Antonio Inoki. You don't know these people. That's their land. So it's totally different. Everyone doesn't know everyone at all.
I didn't even think about it that way. Like that people in Japan don't know who Charlotte Flair is. Like that's to me that's mind boggling. But obviously, it's a cultural thing.
Like we were, I think it was me and Gigi. We were watching like a match, and they're like, one of the girls that came up behind us. They're like, "What are you watching?" I'm just like, "Wrestling," and she's like, "Who's that?" And we're like, "You don't know who this is?" And she's like, "No, like why would I?" And I was like, "Oh, like this is everyone, every country, I guess, has their own thing. And if you're a fan of wrestling, maybe all over, then you probably know everything and you know what's happening in TNA, WWE, AEW, New Japan. But if you're only into your bracket of wrestling, you don't know anything else. And I think that's fair.
And no, for sure. And I think that's just kind of just speaks to the volume of talent that people like Io Sky have, like
Mm-hmm.
Asuka, Stephanie Vaquer,
Mm-hmm.
just the people that come from other regions
Mm-hmm.
and they still manage to make a name for themselves at the level that they are here. And then they become even bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with Chris Jericho. He chose to leave here. He went to New Japan, and that opened the door for him to be in AEW. And obviously, Chris Jericho's already an incredible name from before. He had already been in Japan before. Eddie Guerrero, another person from the past, and Rey Mysterio doing Mexico as well. So I think that just kind of really speaks to the volume of star power and ability that these people have to be able to cross those cultural barriers and still become household names no matter where they go.
Absolutely. I think it's really cool if they can, But I think it's also okay if you don't. Like Chigusa in Japan is almost like a god. Like there was nothing that we couldn't do because of Chigusa. Like I remember Grace went to a coffee shop and the barista spoke English and he's like, "Oh, where you from?" And she's like, "Oh, I wrestle with Chigusa." He marked out like Chigusa. Oh my god! Like I love Chigusa. One of the guys I remember he did something, but we were like right across the street from the police station. And Chikusa went up to the police station and said, "Don't fuck with him." And the police backed off. So I'm like, wow, like you really are like a god here. And they said like back in the days, like in the 80s, the Crush Gals was just as big as Hulk Hogan in the 80s. So it's just like it's just different. It's different reach, you know. But I also feel like if she had an opportunity to come to America, absolutely. Like if she was able to stay in America in the 80s, she would have been just as big as Hogan.
So, if based on the people that you met in your tour in Japan, do you think anybody from that group over there could come to Row now and start their potential road to be, a mega star all over the world? Anybody that you want to give a shout to?
Absolutely. Shout out to Rico and shout out to Mio. Those two, especially, I don't want to say especially, but Mio is so different. Like Mio is maybe 5 foot, soaking wet, and it's just like a ball of energy. I've never seen somebody who can do it day in, day out with the same amount of passion and the same amount of just energy. Like by like day 3 of wrestling back to back, I'm tired. My back, I am not 19. But this girl was just like, come on, let's go. Every single day, she would get hurt in training and still go. And I remember Brian Keith was there. He did his tour with Noah, and he came to the dojo. He was just watching us work out, and he was like, "Yo, Mio is different." I'm like, "I told you." He was like, "She just doesn't get tired," and I've never met someone who just doesn't get tired. And mark my words, Mio will be in America, and she will be in under AEW or TNA or WWE, and she's going to be a major star.
I'm gonna make sure to write that name down here in a second, so I could like watch some of their stuff from
Mio
Japan and everything.
Momomoto.
All right, I'm gonna make sure to write that down here in a second, because that actually sounds interesting. And maybe just maybe we could watch a match of hers later for a future episode and everything, because I think that'd also be really cool to shine a light on people that people might not know.
Oh my gosh, she's so good, and it's like we used to run every day, and I'm so competitive. That's my downfall in life. Like I don't like being last for anything. I'm thinking I can keep up with these girls. Like it was like we would run through a parking lot, go down the hill, then run around the park. So when we're going down the hill, Mio's already hitting the bend. I said, "How are you this fast? Like how?" Like your legs aren't even moving that fast. It needs to blow my mind. And I told myself, I'm like, okay, I got 3 months here. I'm going to beat you at one of these races. Never came close.
Wow.
Never came close.
That's incredible.
Never came close.
That's incredible. So that's kind of what we have to look forward to here talking about this episode too, because if that is the talent now, you can only imagine how they were inspired back in 95. Maybe watching this match, maybe this is their Shawn Michaels and Undertaker from WrestleMania 25 or 26, take your pick. And maybe this is what inspired them.
25.
I was there, so I'm biased. So it's always going to be 25 for me. But that maybe this is where they got their inspiration from. Right out of the gate, like you said, there wasn't even a lockup. They just went right into it. They were pulling each other's hair. They were just, in a fight, which is something that Booker always tells us too, is like, always make it look like you're in a fight. If you've never been in a fight, don't go get in one, but, at least make it seem like you are in one.
Absolutely. And I think the issue with wrestling nowadays is no one's been in a fight. Like you can tell by the lockup and people's hands are down. I'm like, yeah, like I would just probably deck you because your hands aren't up. They didn't even have time to put their guard up because it was just like straight off the bat. They're fighting. They're pulling hair. They're gouging out eyes. They're here for the kill. And what makes it so special was that there was wrestling with a fight versus gymnastics with a fight or stuntman work with a fight. But it's wrestling. You still see your cross bodies, your arm bars, your moonsaults. You still see like the things that makes wrestling. You still see professional wrestling in a fight, and I wish that people still had that. I wish people were still tough. People are not tough anymore, and I think that kind of gives the illusion away because everyone, I hate to say it, but everyone knows how this stuff works, and it's like that because we giving it away. You can see it. Talking about your girl, she can see it. You turn this shit off.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you put on a Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, a match like this, and she's like, "Whoa, like, are they okay? Like, do they want to like somebody should check on them? Like somebody break this up." And I think that if we went back to this, wrestling would be so popular again. Like it would be 10 times bigger.
And especially, I feel like adding the dramatics of WWE, the drama, right? Because it's all
Yes.
about the stories and whatnot. It could just be like Jerry Springer every single week.
Yes, it could be. It could be a roller coaster. It could be so fun.
So with this matchup, again, we talk about the fact, they're pulling each other's hair and everything. But the one thing that I really liked about from Hokuto was that all of her her submissions were so unique. It was stuff that I've never seen before. Stuff that is just, again, I can't really think of another word, but just to say unique. And no matter where she went in the match itself, she always found a way to be a submission person. Is that her game? Is she usually a submission person?
Her gimmick was the dangerous queen.
Okay.
So like it was her whole get up was you're in danger. And I can get you at any angle at any time, and it could be a submission, it could be a strike, it can be anything. And I think that was so cool about her because, like you said, the submissions they came out of nowhere and it was fast, and she would wrench back as hard as she could, and you're like, dude, like you about to break this girl's arm, and guess what? She would pull your hair at the same time. And it's like this woman is crazy. But if you didn't know, it's probably one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Like we had this like. I'm pretty sure you've seen my boots, the spiky boots. That's all from her.
Gotcha.
Like, this is one of my favorite wrestlers of, like, definitely top 5. Totally top 5.
So I want to give a shout out to one of the submissions that I saw from her. Like she like hooked the head behind her leg or like her knee, and then she like twisted it up with the arm and everything. I was like, what is happening right now? I'm scared. I hope that I'm never in this submission hold ever.
Totally happy I've never wrestled her because I am not flexible.
Oof.
Not flexible. Tap out immediately. That's or another pass out.
The cool thing again, the clash of styles, right? That's another thing that we talk about in wrestling. Some people are submission artists, some people are high flyers and everything. The one thing that I saw from Toyota herself was that her strikes could come out of nowhere. She got whipped into the ropes and then jumps on the top rope, somehow manages to turn around and comes back with a clothesline. I'm just like, how do you do that and not fall? Like, how much trust do you have in the ring and your own ability to be able to do something like that?
Toyota was just a different breed, and she's long, so those legs can just jump on top of the top rope and come off with a crossbody or a moonsault, almost like you don't even have time to even turn around. She's right on top, and here she comes. Like, I wouldn't know what to do wrestling someone like that, because it's like, I'm thinking you about to duck my clothesline. You go off the top rope, took my eyes off you for 1 second, and you're ready. You're already flying at me. And like I said, she looks pretty tall, maybe like 5'9", maybe even like 5'10", and just incredible leaping ability. I've never seen that from a woman ever.
I mean, that's just regardless, like man, woman, like athlete, that's just incredible. Like I don't even think I've even seen a lucha guy do that before. And lucha people are usually going, flying through the ropes and everything. But to go from the mat to the top rope, turn around and still even if you have to do it like midway after you bounce, like that is incredible athleticism, regardless of like. It's just amazing. And the fact, and here's another thing that I want to point out. This happened in 95. Women's wrestling wasn't even that big a thing in WWF yet. Trish Stratus and Lita hadn't been around yet either. So, they're the ones that kind of, pioneered that era along with Jazz and Jacqueline and everything. And this was so different than anything we were getting in the United States at all. Even in Mexico, I don't even think women's wrestling was even that big in Mexico at the time either. I'm going to find out as the more episodes that I do here through this show and whatnot. But it's incredible that these were the kind of athletes that were in Japan all the way back then.
It's crazy because what people don't understand is there was good wrestling in America in the 90s, women's wrestling in the 90s. It just wasn't on WWE. Like there was a promotion. It didn't last long. It was called the LPWA. And I know Jim Cornette did commentary on it, and it was girls like Denise Storm, Magnificent Mimi, Jacqueline was there, and some of it was bad, but some of those matches were really, really good. Like Denise Storm, to me, in my opinion, no one probably even knows this woman, but if she would have stuck with it, she was incredible, vicious and mean and just was serious. And again, not all these matches were great, but even like the bad matches, you understood who these women wanted to be or what they were going for. So it's unfortunate when people say like, "Oh, women's wrestling wasn't a thing." It was. You just have to find it. It wasn't mainstream, but it was always good. You know.
And I want to thank you for saying that
Mm-hmm.
actually, because again, I'm coming from a completely ignorant standpoint, right?
Oh, you're good.
I always like to say this, that ignorance is not a bad thing,
Not at
because
all.
ignorance just means that you weren't aware, that you
Mm-hmm.
didn't know. And again, that's kind of why I started this podcast, so I could learn more and really truly embrace the history of professional wrestling, which is a thing I've said I've loved for 20 years, which
Mm-hmm.
in fact means I love WWE.
Yes.
But I want to expand my knowledge. I want to expand my horizons. So now you've even given me another thing to start going look at and everything, because if this so far I'm 3 episodes into this and I've already watched 3 incredible matches, and I'm like, how have I not been watching this before? Like, what's wrong with me? Why have my blinders just been so like here? And especially like, I think truly it's just gonna up my game even more, because I could maybe become another Mike Tenay. Not to say that I want to be Mike Tenay, become myself, but in a version of him that's like, I know this stuff, and to I guess in a way kind of walk side by side with Walker Stewart, because Walker is an incredible person that knows so much stuff. You talk to that guy about wrestling, he could tell you like 70 years of history just off of this one small conversation that you have with him.
Yeah, Walker is definitely dope. Shout out to Walker. But no, I think a lot of people are like that. A lot of people have the blinders on with wrestling, just like, and I don't understand why. But maybe it's just your thing, Like we have like the AEW and WWE war, and it's like, why? Watch both, You ever see those commercials back in the day with the tacos commercial, and it
Mhm.
was like hard taco, soft taco. It's like, why don't we have both? Did they all celebrate? It's like, just watch them both. Watch CMLL, watch AAA, watch TNA, watch everything. And to me, I think how I became a good wrestler was me watching everything. If everyone's watching WWE, now we're all going to wrestle like WWE. We're all going to do the same exact thing without even realizing it. But with someone like me, I want it to be different. I want it to have a different style. If everyone's doing it this way, I started doing things totally different. And so when everyone does a snapmare, everyone uses two hands. I made it a point to use one. Taking a shoulder tackle, I make it a point to always kind of put my hands on the ground and come back up. Why? Because it's different. I don't want to be like everyone else.
Mhm.
And I think when you open up in that horizon and you start watching just a little bit of things from the 80s, the AWA, Smoky Mountain, things like that, it really shows you like this is really a canvas, and you can paint it how you want it to paint it, and you can see it how you want to see it. And if you only see WWE, you're only seeing red, blue, and yellow. Just like what you gotta see purple. You gotta see the greens. You gotta see the browns, the magentas, and the pearl colors, because it's wrestling. Wrestling is so beautiful. You
Mhm.
know.
And that's what I'm starting to like really see, because I mean, I did dabble here and there. I remember my first true foray into foreign wrestling was watching Wrestle Kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw Shinsuke Nakamura for the first time. I think it was Wrestle
Aw.
Kingdom 9. It was an intercontinental title match, and all I remember was that leading up to that match, everybody was like, 5 seconds with Shinsuke entrance, you're gonna be hooked. I'm like, there's no way. Like, there's just no way somebody can hook me just like that. And then that was the entrance that he did with like the cards on
Mm-hmm.
the screens and everything. And I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm literally getting goosebumps just thinking
Yeah. I
about
know
it.
exactly
And
what
I'm
you're
just
talking
like,
about.
that was incredible. And then he wrestled, I want to say like a 30-minute match.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I get the hype now. So when he got signed to NXT, and then obviously he wrestled Sami Zayn, that was like my favorite. That is still my favorite guy to
Mm-hmm.
this day right now. So I was like, that was incredible. It was one of the best matches I've ever seen. Holy crap, I love this stuff. And slowly I started, doing forays into New Japan and everything. But, a part of that blind spot, I wanted to go back and watch this stuff, which again, I can see the influence from those matches to what I'm seeing now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a carbon copy of it. It's just like you said, an homage with your
Mm.
boots and stuff like that. It's maybe like doing a little bit things different with the snapmare, only having one hand down, which ultimately that's what makes you stand
Mm-hmm.
out. Just taking those little things and making you different than everybody else.
100% agree. And I remember Shinsuke with that violin entrance.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sensational. Sensational.
Oh my God. Like, it's like I don't know. It was just like I remember that. That's one of those moments in life where it's like I should have been there in person. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it should have been me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can only imagine how exciting that was, like in person with the guy on the violin and Shinsuke just being Shinsuke just dancing and oh that was a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, it was great stuff. Now talking about the influence and just seeing it clearly, like we mentioned Io Sky earlier. Something that I noticed watching this match is that again the blinders are there for
Mm-hmm.
WWE, right? And I watched Io Sky.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Asuka.
Mm-hmm.
I've never watched Kana like from before. Like
Oh
I've
wow.
never I the only Io Sky previous thing that I have was from Lucha Underground.
Mm-hmm.
So like that was pretty much everything that I had.
Mm-hmm.
So it honestly watching the match that we watched prior to this episode, it really makes me want to go back and watch that stuff because obviously Kana was like the precursor to Asuka.
Mm-hmm.
It's an extension of it what we saw in
Mm-hmm.
NXT, but obviously it had to be toned down for the WWE
Mm-hmm.
style. It just makes me wonder how brutal had they been previously that it got them to now. Like obviously Io Shirai was Io Sky's previous name, and just it made me want to dig more into like what have I missed from their work previously.
Oh man, you never seen Kana?
Never.
Oh my god. Killer. Just imagine Oscar just times like 3. Like Oscar NXT times 3.
Uh-huh.
Just like a demon.
So if there was one match that I'm adding to the list, let's say if I were to do one tonight, what is like the top match that you would say that I should probably add to the list to again maybe kind of give me the same feeling that I did watching Toyota.
Oh, Kana versus Miko.
Okay.
Like and then like their styles are like this. Like I'm not really a big fan of like styles being like similar,
Mm-hmm.
but like those matches, like that match, it's like you don't know what's going to come.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I'm gonna hit you with this strike. My strike's gonna be bigger. No, I'm about to reverse this strike into your strike with my strike. And it's like, whoa.
It's like a chess match.
It's oh my god. And it's like someone like Miko, who's what 30 years in the game,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't back down. Like doesn't back down. And you got Kana just being devious. Like if they would allow Kana in WWE, she probably been undefeated to this day. Like there was no beating that. Like
Mhm.
there was no beating that. Maybe Charlotte Flair, maybe Rhea Ripley now, but there was no beating that. Just
Interesting. I'm definitely gonna add that because again that was one of the things that I was thinking about while watching this stuff
Mhm.
because to kind of talk about the toughness of the competitors as a whole too. They weren't just throwing each other by the hair. They weren't just throwing strikes like slapping the crap out of each other. They were also putting each other through tables that didn't break. And I messaged one of my friends, the one that recommended this match to me. I messaged her and I was like, "Is this what it means when people say you do it for the love of the game?"
yeah. I don't think that was a table. That was a desk. Like that wasn't a normal table. Like that was a thick. Like the wood was thick. Like it's thick as someone's hand.
Mhm.
And they're jumping off the top turnbuckle to the outside to the table and it doesn't break. That's a desk.
Mhm.
Like, don't put me through a desk.
Mhm.
Like, and it was like more. It was like a couple times. Like,
It was like I think at least 3 different spots that I saw with tables.
it's one of those you got it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got it. But one thing I can say, I am not a big fan of going to the outside.
Mhm.
That is something like in most matches, not this one, but I normally fast forward it because I know you can't win that way.
Mhm.
Like it's never been like my bread and butter at all.
I think that's very I guess from what I've seen so far, I feel like that's very much a WWE thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because anytime that I've seen a match go to the outside, it's to maybe hit one more thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then put them back in to try and
Mhm.
win and everything. But in WWE, it's very prominent,
Mhm.
which I think that's why AJ Styles and Cena never, or I think it was that one, either that or Cena and Kevin Owens never going to the outside was a
Mhm.
big deal
Yeah.
because it was just a strictly pure wrestling match.
Yeah. I don't mind it if the rules are enforced. Like if you're on the outside, this is a normal singles match,
Mhm.
and you go on the outside and the referee's counting. All right, cool. But if we're just outside for 15 minutes, it's like okay, like this. I know this is not the finish, so it's like go back into the ring and finish it. But if the rules are enforced, I'm okay with it because you only have 10 seconds, but if you're outside for 3 minutes, I'm gonna fast forward it.
Hmm. And again, just those table spots were just so insane. Like, would you ever agree to something like that if you were wrestling one of them?
I can't disrespect my vets. So it's one of those things. I'll do it, but I'm gonna complain the whole time. Like I'm gonna complain the whole entire time. I'll be like, okay,
I'm just gonna smile through the pain. It's fine
like
for the love of the game.
damn it, like, but just for fun, like there has to be money or championship on the line.
Hmm.
That's not something I would just do. Like I would either have to despise you. There's money or there's a title. I don't. I'm not doing that for fun.
Hmm.
That's not fun to me. Like I have to get up tomorrow. Like I have things to do. You're not about to break my back. No, no thanks.
That's entirely fair. Now, again, just thinking of all the different styles and everything. Um, I think it was just fascinating to also kind of to peel back the curtain a little bit to what we learned in professional wrestling, right? The match structure
Mm-hmm.
was also so different
Mm-hmm.
because when we learn professional wrestling, you learn about obviously, the start where you wrestle, chain wrestle, all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. There's the heat, there's the shine, and there's the finish, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's the cutoffs. So far, watching Japanese wrestling, it doesn't feel that way.
You don't have that.
Yeah, and it's I think it's fascinating that there's no match structure. When
Mm.
I was watching wrestling with Heather, she kind of figured that formula out, and she was like, "Well, I know it's not going to end because the bad guy hasn't done this and the good guy hasn't done this." I was like, "Interesting," and that's when I taught her about the formula and
Mm-hmm.
everything, and that's kind of like the formula that you follow to build a match. Here so far for the two Japanese matches that I've watched on the show, it wasn't like that. It was
Mm-mm.
just we're just going to literally beat the crap out of each other. But it's fascinating to me that it still created a cohesive, competitive story.
Yes.
And that, like that again, from an outside perspective, I think that's fascinating that they're still able to pull that off as not just athletes, but also the competitors in the ring to tell a story that way. It's like I was telling Heather last night. It's like watching a football game.
Mm-hmm.
You never know who's gonna win. It could be It could be super lopsided. It could be very even. It could be. It felt like a sport,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that I always like to talk about. Japanese wrestling feels like a sport. How does one really craft a match like that? If you feel comfortable sharing that, because again, I always tell everybody you can peel the curtain as far back as much as you want.
I'll peel it back a little bit, but I won't peel it back all the way because, for respect for them, they treat it like a fight.
Mm-hmm.
They believe in kayfabe there. They don't talk in front of outsiders. If we were training and somebody was delivering a package, we stop. So there's certain things I will say and certain things I'm gonna respect.
Of course.
Just the family on, but it's set up like a fight. And it's not like your turn, my turn, but it's more so like I fight, you fight, and then we fight. And it's a fight. It's different because it's not for the crowd. It's we're fighting. And I remember doing my tryout, and we did a seminar the day before with Chigusa and some of the girls from Marvelous, and then the next day we did a tryout. And I remember just little things that Chigusa was saying. She was like, "We're fighting. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about the crowd. We're fighting." And then when I did my tryout match, I took that in like I took that and used it. So I remember like doing my tryout match, and I'm beating up on Gigi. I'm beating her up, and I almost did like this to the I flipped off the crowd, and I'm like, "Oh, that's wrong." And I turned my middle finger and I pointed it at her. I'm like, "F you." They're like, "You're understanding." So it's a fight with each other and not for the crowd. It's not sports entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
So when you structure a fight in Joshi style, it's I'm trying to break you. That's why it looks so unorthodox. You pick somebody up, give them a slam, then you might give them a power driver right afterwards, and then you might pick them up and put them in a submission. Why you're thinking, why are you not pinning right now? I'm trying to make sure I don't have to pin you again. So when I 1, 2, and you kick out, it's like, all right, like you really came to play. And then the banana peel happens. Then the baby face comes back up. And it's like, but this baby face just took a power driver, a slam, thrown to the outside, kicked in the head multiple times. You believe that the baby face is hurt. So when she gets struck again as hard as she can, bow. you believe that she's in danger. So that's how it works, and it's so believable that no one understands it, and I think that is so cool about it. It's literally everyone thinks like, "Are you guys just fighting?" No, it's the same thing. It's just I'm here to break you. I am here to make sure you don't get up. That's why there's not a lot of pinfalls in Joshi wrestling. I'm going to kill until I know you're good. You're not getting up. 1, 2. Now I gotta think of something else. But you just unloaded the clip on this bitch. You know that's what makes Joshi. Like, of course you guys can't see us, but in the background is Aja Kong and Toyota wrestling, and Kong is just the heat she is able to pit on people is crazy. She doesn't allow you to breathe. And you watch any Aja Kong match, the ref always gets in between. It's like, yo, stop. Like you're doing too much. And it's like, no, these are in the rules of wrestling. But it's like it gets that bad where the ref go like, let her breathe. Like, nah.
And speaking of the pinfall attempts too, that was something that I noticed as well. Obviously in WWE, we're very used to like the high impact, like, you know, kick out to draw the drama and everything, right? There was a pinfall attempt that failed where Toyota actually like did a huge bridge and she barely got her shoulders up at the last second. I was like, there was no like big movement of like, you know, oh, get the crowd and, you know, pop the crowd and everything. It was just, I'm just doing a bridge to try and get my shoulders up, and she gets it up at the last second. That to me was so impactful without there being that huge pop moment of like, oh, last second, like kick out and everything. And again, I think that just speaks again to the performance as a whole, that this is a fight.
It's a fight.
And again, just shouts out to both of these competitors, because it was amazing to see that we're here 30 years later talking about this match, and I'm still learning stuff from them 30 years later.
I think the bridge pin is so beautiful if it's used the right way. Like, you're just like, at that point in the match, she is like done for. You know, she's been rocked back and forth, and to bridge yourself up, like, meaning that I'm going to get my shoulders off, and you're going to see I'm getting my shoulders off. The crowd goes crazy. Ooh, that's the sound they always make. That's crazy to me, and I'm actually going to start using that, because that's actually such a like underrated pin. Actually, I can't use it. I'm a freaking baby. I'm a heel. Damn.
It's all good. We can figure it out. Eventually, one day. We'll make you back a baby face. Now, something else that I did notice that is here in my notes. You talked about Hokuto being one of your biggest inspirations. Did I spy potentially a Broken Promise 2.0? Was that her finisher?
Hold up. You're finding out all my secrets, Kirby. God damn it.
I saw it and I was like, oh, I see why we want to watch this match.
He found out my secret. Yes, I have stolen my finish from Hokuto.
Hey, it's not stealing. It is repurposing, if you will. Which is, you know, obviously we're always inspired by, you know, different people. And this is going to be funny. And I don't think I've ever shared this with you. Whenever I first saw it, I was like, oh, it's a gut wrench powerbomb, but you just don't go flat. And for me, in my brain, again, WWE blinders, right? I see that move and I think
Jack Swagger.
I do.
Oh my God.
I was a kid. I will say that. I loved Jack Swagger back in the day, the ECW Jack Swagger, the All-American American. So that's why I've always loved that move as a whole. Performer aside, I've always loved that move. I think it's one of the coolest moves ever. And, you know, when I saw you do it, I was like, oh, cool. I love this move. And I saw Brian Keith do a variation of it before he switched to the Soul Firebomb. And I was like, the more gut wrench power bombs are, the better. So I always pop for it. But then when I saw it yesterday, I was like, there it is. That's where we got it from. Okay, it makes a lot more sense. And honestly, the way that it's delivered, the way that Hokuto delivers it, the way that you deliver it is also just, I feel, a much smoother and like better, just more impactful way, because you're not lying down face down. It's, you know, like a power bomb.
Yeah, I can't imagine laying down with that, honestly. I feel like laying down, I would hit my chest on like their legs. And no, I commend him. Like, shout out to Jake Hager, Jack Swagger, for being able to lay out with it, but not for me. And I took the finish because remember my old finish? I had him like in like the air raid crash.
Yeah.
I needed something I can do on everyone, and I needed something that can just like quick. It wasn't quick enough. I can pick everyone up, but it just wasn't like 1, 2, go. I needed something where I can just boom. So I just did a whole bunch of like research on wrestling, just watching stuff. I'm like, okay, can't do that. I'm short. Can't do that. Not tall. Can't do that. Not that strong. Like
Mhm.
can't do that. That's plain. But I wanted something just like like wrestling moves need to like to me pop out at you. That's it. And I remember watching her match with Aja Kong, and she did, and I was like, that's it. That's the move. And I went to training, and I practiced it, and then I've done that move for what, 3 years now, and now I got the technique down. I'm able to hold people so close to me. It looks like a power driver now, and I think it's so cool, just like learning like new techniques and just learning from the greats, because she does it and she kind of goes to her knees a lot of the time. I sit down with it, and it's like, I'll take things from someone, but I don't want to like steal. I don't want to. I don't want to replicate.
Yeah.
I want to be able to do things my own way.
Mhm.
But shout out to Akira. You got a great move, and any other good moves you need to have stolen from you, I'll
Well,
gladly take them.
it's a great move because again, like I think the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, that's different, that's new. And again, I'm a big fan of the gut wrench powerbomb, regardless of whatever way it's delivered. I think it's a very impactful move, and I think it's a great. For me, it's like a great show of strength as well, because the way that you do it, you just hold people in the gut wrench and then slowly turn them, and to the viewer, it could look like it's just hard to get people that way, especially now that I've gone more into working out. I'm like, that takes a lot of strength to be able to slowly control people, flip them over, and then put them down.
Oh
Like,
man, that's I could definitely say that it's sometimes that move is a nightmare because it's like, here comes the hernia. Here comes the hernia. So I'm like, oh please, like don't drop them. Like just don't drop them. And it's like when your head gets like almost between my legs, I'm like, okay, just do your part now. Just tuck your head. Don't tuck backwards. Whatever you do, don't tuck backwards. I can't help you if you tuck backwards.
well, it's definitely a great move. Now, Promise, I want to thank you so much for joining me here today. Now, before we do wrap up here, I've began asking everybody at the end of these episodes, if you were to give a star rating to the match that we were here to talk about today, what star rating would you give it? And this is a scale for you personally, and I'm gonna save all of these. That way we can talk about it in future episodes if you choose to come back.
Oh, this is easy a 5-star match. It hits all the categories. It's a fight. It's exciting. The crowd's involved. It's fun. It's colorful. It's bright. Definitely 5-star ratings. And I would think Dave Meltzer would agree on that one. He would agree.
Not in the Tokyo Dome.
Oh God.
Well, I actually don't know. I don't know the place that this happened at. But Promise, thank you again so much for coming on the show. I really do appreciate your time here that you made to talk about this match, and hopefully, we find some more time to talk about more matches where hopefully I'll be more versed in Joshi by then.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Is there any social media that you would like to plug before we get out of here?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at promise.braxton and same on Twitter, promise.braxton.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, guys. That was the Miss Retrospective here today with Promise Braxton. We will be back with more episodes shortly for sure, as right now we are on episode 3. I've been trying to do my best to get these out weekly for you guys. But until next time, I will see you. This has been Kirby Carreon. Have a great night, y'all.